Hey guys, what's up? It's Monday, early in the morning. Time for another edition of the Breakfast Club. And yeah, I'm back after a bit of a hiatus. Had to move, had to get settled. Took me a little while to get things, relatively settled. And well, here I am. So, the election's coming up. It's only in a few days, a couple of days actually. And things are really heating up. I mean, well, they've been heated up, but now everything's getting to that fever pitch. As you know, people are already early voting. People are really trying to get people out there to vote. People are trying to really come up with some last minute arguments on to vote for their side, their particular ideology, their particular political party. But at this point, I think everybody's pretty much made up their minds. I doubt very much at this point that anybody's going to, something's going to really sway them. And as I'm seeing all this, I can't help but think that even at this late stage of the game, there's still a bit of manipulation going on. Now, I'm not talking about like manipulation as in hacking or Russian stuff or whatever, but the usual BS that happens in the United States whenever things come to a fever pitch. But considering how intense the political climate has gotten lately, I feel that I need to kind of give a reminder as to what's at stake and what may be going on behind the scenes. And let me just get to the point. We all know that people are not happy with Trump, okay? I'm not happy with him. A lot of people who are watching this video right now aren't happy with him. There's people who are happy with him, but there's a pretty loud noise of people who aren't exactly happy with him, his administration, and his political party. And there is a huge push by a lot of people of different backgrounds and different organizations. There's a huge push to try to right the ship, as it were, to kind of go against his political party. Now, they can't exactly vote him out, not right now. Even I know there's this huge push for impeachment, which hasn't really gone up the ground. Like, we haven't really seen any real move in that direction, but whatever. But it's like, well, if we can't vote against him, we can at least vote against the Republican Party. And so there's this whole talk about a blue wave and whether or not it's coming or not. And while I'm looking at this and listening to all this, I can't help but feel that not everyone who is against Trump is necessarily on our side. That there's some other stuff going on that we may not necessarily agree with. There's that phrase, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and I can't help but think of that phrase right now. Not because I completely agree with it, but because that sort of thing could sort of describe the situation. See, it's not just Democrats who are pissed off at Trump, okay? It's not just, liberals, the far left, or whatever you want to call people, who are against Trump. It's not just them who are making a lot of noise and who are upset with what they're seeing, who are concerned. But there are a lot of people on the right who aren't exactly happy with this either. And there are people in the quote-unquote establishment, the machine, the money-powered individuals that really run things in the country, who also aren't happy with how things are going. And their reasons are different than reasons that you and I may come up with. See, me, and people like us, and I say people like us, I mean people who happen to lean left, whether it be far or not as far or whatever. There are certain ideologies that we hold on to and certain things that we see in the country that concern us. And when we describe these things, when we express these views, we tend to do it in social terms. We talk about like how laws are affecting certain groups of people. We talk about, the economy. We talk about jobs lost. And we also talk about minority groups, how they're being treated, certain hateful ideologies that might be ruining the lives of other people. We talk about changing certain social paradigms in order to make things easier for other groups of people. We talk about making things more fair for other people. We talk in those terms, right? And if you're looking at things in that light, then yeah, there's plenty to see in the current political climate that would piss you off. But then there are other people who are looking at things like, how are we being perceived around the world? how are our interests being threatened around the world by this current administration? How does global trade, the global economy, how is that being affected? How are our business interests being fucked with? How, things like that. And those people have plenty to be pissed off at. And they aren't necessarily on the left. In fact, a lot of them are on the right. There have been a lot of battles that have been going on in the White House and in the government level, between the right wing, within the right wing. A lot of battles and back and forth going on, and like, what the fuck is Trump doing? Because they're looking at things from a kind of business, kind of like, to borrow a term, the whole in military industrial complex sort of view of things. There are a lot of people who are looking at things from that perspective who aren't happy. They're looking at the fact, okay, we got certain allies abroad that we're depending on in order to keep certain interests, national security interests, as well as financial interests. These things are being threatened right now by this current administration and the policies that are being put forth. There is a huge chance of causing, instability, not just among our allies, but within the way we're trying to run things. This could be upheaval because of that. There are certain things that Trump is doing or saying that could possibly cause some problems when it comes to national security. Like, that's the way they're looking at it. And then there's also people, like I said, it's trade. Like, he's doing things that are going to affect trade, which is ultimately going to mess up with the United States. Like it or not, while people like you and I may not like the globalist agenda, the American economy is tied to this sort of thing, and dismantling it just like that is not an easy thing to do. You can't just, I'm just going to cut this off and that's it. I don't really have time to get into the complexities of all of it, and it's not like I'm a major, economic expert. But I do know this. America has become mostly a consumer economy. It's supposed to become a service-based economy. We don't exactly produce that much anymore, and the few things that we do produce are very heavily influenced by certain tariffs that are, in place on certain goods. And all of these things are currently being dismantled or being threatened to be dismantled by Trump, which is going to screw up the economy of the country. And for all the boasting that Trump and them are saying about, look how great the economy is doing right now, it has to do with us. It's got very little to do with them. They were barely able to get anything passed except for one tax bill. All these other things that they've been trying to pass either get overturned or just can't seem to get off the ground. All the boasting that they're doing is based off things that happened in the past administration. The economy was already on the upward swing before Obama left office. And no, this isn't like leftist propaganda shit that I'm saying. I know this to be true because when he was president and the economy was doing well, it was people like me pointing out, yeah, the economy is doing well for people who already got money. Okay? We were making that criticism. It's the same economy we're talking about. Trump has very little to do with it, whatever. But that's being threatened right now. And people who are looking at that sort of thing aren't happy. But those people aren't necessarily on the citizens' side. Those, the people who are in charge of like mega corporations, the people who are interested in our influence on other countries overseas aren't necessarily thinking at the same level as the common citizen who is more concerned about, social issues. They're not necessarily going to be seeing eye to eye there. But they may be using these people in order to change the way things are currently going. It's like, I'm allying with you only against this one common enemy. As soon as this gets fixed, we're right back to being at each other's throats. And I get the feeling that some people are forgetting that. They have to be aware of that. Not everybody against Trump is your ally. So that is something that really, you need to keep that in mind when you go to the polls. You also need to keep in mind that whoever you might be voting for may not necessarily be completely on your side. Just being against Trump is not enough. I mean, right now, if you just simply want that blue wave to take over just to obstruct or possibly reverse a lot of the things going on, then sure, I guess that's enough. However, you do have to realize that there's a lot more than just that going on. There's more battles to be won. It's more than just this election. There's, of course, you got to win things at the local level, at the state level, the city level. You have to start talking ideology. There's still the battle to be won on changing the paradigm, changing what's going on in our hearts and minds. I mean, you see the ugliness that's been popping up over the past couple of weeks. The mass shootings that have happened, the racist rhetoric that's been popping up. There's been a lot of ugliness bubbling up, coming out of the woodwork over the past 12 years. This is everyone's saying that look at what's been coming up because of Trump, but this stuff has been bubbling up since Obama. It's been bubbling up even before that, but ever since Obama became president, there was this huge offense that people took, like, how dare a dark-skinned person become president? Things were climbing even then. It's just that Trump finally brought that to the surface by just simply speaking in the language of these people, and that's just got emboldened them even more. Now they feel that they got free reign to do what they want because, well, Trump will protect us. That's the general thinking. That's not going to go away just because of one election. Just because you think that a blue wave may be coming, who knows if it really is or not. Just because you think it's going to happen, it's not going to, these people aren't just going to go away. They're not just going to vanish. And it's not going to change thoughts that people have in their heads on what they think reality is. There needs to be a certain real discourse between people in order to change that if that's something that you're concerned with. And that's not a conversation that, people who are interested more on, controlling the economy and controlling, business interests overseas and political interests overseas, that's not a conversation that those people are really going to be engaging in, nor do they really care that much about, unless it happens to be screwing with their bottom line or their plans. One election's not going to be enough. People have this tendency to keep thinking, okay, all I got to do is vote in this one guy. All I got to do is vote in this one president. All I got to do is enjoy this one thing and do this one thing at this one day and everything will be great. No. This is a long, ongoing battle. This is part of the reason why people on the left keep losing. Because they keep, I just got to vote this one guy in. Let me just vote for Bernie Sanders and that'll be great. You got a whole government you need to change, and you got a country's discourse you need to take control of. And actually get people to talk about issues that normally they don't talk about in a way that actually encourages discussion and fact-finding and coming together as citizens of a republic. That sort of thing is going to take time. It's going to take work. And the people who are going to be voting against Trump now may not necessarily want that conversation to happen. Got to keep that in mind. When you go to that booth to vote whatever you're going to vote, keep that in mind. There's still a hell of a lot more fighting to do. Whether there's a blue wave or not, there's a hell of a lot more fighting to do. That's all I got to say. Hope you find this interesting. Catch you guys later.